Hey guys, it's Chad with Beverage Professor, the channel designed to teach you about all things alcohol. So I've had several comments about people wanting to learn more about wine, so I'm going to try to do some more wine videos. And today I thought I would do one on the four types of, main types basically, of red wine. And there's several types of red wines, but the four that I'm going to talk about today are the main red wines that you'll see in stores. You'll see them on most restaurant wine lists. If you're a server or a bartender, you should get to know these wines very well because you will be pouring them and you will have see them on all your lists. These wines are considered dry in style, so if you're searching for sweet wine, these will not be for you. And you can go back and watch my video on the 5 types of sweet wine, so check that one out. And I'm also categorizing these from lightest to more full-bodied. Okay, so let's get started. My first wine is Pinot Noir. Now, this varietal is the lightest in tannin compared to the others we discussed. And now tannins, remember, if you haven't seen some of my other videos, tannins are the drying. That's what you get whenever you drink a dry red wine and you get that, you know, dry, your tongue dries out, and that's tannin, and it comes from the grape skins and many times also from the barrels it's aged in. So this is one of the lighter ones. It is a difficult grape to grow. It's a thin-skinned grape that requires a very much cooler to moderate climate in order to produce a good quality grape. In order to find good Pinot Noir, you might have to spend just a little more money compared to maybe some of the other varietals we're going to talk about. I would look to maybe that $15 to $25 retail range for Pinot Noir. Not saying you can't get good values under that price point, but just start there so you can get at least a good quality and get a good understanding of what the Pinot Noir is going to taste like. Pinot Noir is usually a pale to medium red in color. Many times if you look at it I always like to have a white cloth underneath and look at the wines. You can see right through this, okay? Many others that we're going to talk about will be darker and you won't be able to see through it as well, okay? So they're also higher in acidity, and like I said, they have medium tannins, okay? So they have flavors of strawberry and raspberry and cherry for the most part, depending on the region and where you're getting the Pinot Noir from. So where are some of the best regions to look for Pinot Noir? Pinot Noir is the primary red grape that's found in the red wines of Burgundy, France. Burgundy actually is the birthplace of Pinot Noir. So with French wines, unfortunately, they don't put the grape varietal on the label. Many times it'll just be the producer and the region. And you just have to know, if you see a region, what grapes are grown in that region. So with French Pinot Noir, you will want to look for regions such as Bourgogne, Gevrey-Chambertin, Neuilly Saint George. Let's see, what else will you find? Beaune and Pommard. Okay, so if you see those on the label, you pretty much know that is going to be a Pinot Noir. And they'll also come usually in a Burgundy style bottle many times. So if you see a bottle that's shaped this way, a lot of times that will be an indication that it is a Pinot Noir as well. The wines of Burgundy, though, so if you're getting a French Burgundy, they tend to be medium bodied, again, with low tannins, high acidity, just like all the others, and some fresh fruit flavors. But they also, many times these French wines will come across a little more earthy, with flavors of like mushroom or forest floor, kind of wet soil. I know these terms sound very not like you want to drink it, but anyway, trust me, these are good wines, okay? But you'll get to, if you taste these side by side, like say a California and a Burgundy and maybe an Oregon Pinot, then you'll get the differences in the taste, and that's the best way to try these. But in the United States, the place to go is, again, California and Oregon for Pinot Noir. In California, look to the areas of Carneros and Santa Barbara, maybe Monterey as well, for some of our best Pinot Noir. California is pretty too warm most of the time for most Pinot Noirs. That's why you just have a few select regions that you can choose from, and those regions are usually close to the coast and get cooled down by the morning fogs. They get cooler at night, and they have a lot of coastal breezes. So Pinot Noir needs that cooler climate to grow properly. California Pinot Noirs tend to be more fruit forward. I don't know if you understand that, but have a lot more of the red fruit flavors like strawberry and red cherry. And in Oregon, the Willamette Valley is the place that you want to look for in Oregon, the region. And these Pinot Noirs many times tend to be a little bit more in that Burgundian style of winemaking. So you'll still have the fresh red fruit flavors, but they can also come across a little more of that earthy character with that mushroom and forest floor characteristic. Okay. Chile's another area that you can find good Pinot Noir, and usually you can find it at a very reasonable price too. And also, Pinot Noir is one of the 3 grape varietals that are permitted to produce champagne. Okay. Now, again, if you haven't seen some of my other videos, champagne, in order to be called champagne, has to come from the Champagne region of France. And the 3 grape varietals that they use or can use to make champagne are Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. Now, if you see, they can produce it this way, but if you see a label, or even a sparkling wine, let's say in California, that says Blanc de Noir, this means white from black. Then it will be made up of Pinot Noir or Pinot Meunier, maybe both, okay? Because these are the 2 red wines that are able to be used to produce that champagne. And Chardonnay is obviously a white grape varietal. So Pinot Noir is also produced in Germany, and there it is actually called, it won't be called Pinot Noir, it's called Spätburgunder. Another thing about Pinot Noir, it pairs very well with various foods. I used to do a lot of wine dinners, and many times people think red wines are supposed to be with red meats and white wines with white meats, but I would do these wine dinners, and then usually if they had a chicken dish or sometimes even certain fishes, I would do a Pinot Noir with it, and people loved it. All right, the next wine we're going to talk about is Merlot, and this wine used to be just extremely popular. I mean, it was everywhere. Everybody was drinking Merlot, and then all of a sudden a movie called Sideways came out, and it basically just destroyed Merlot, but it glorified Pinot Noir and made Pinot Noir this incredible wine to drink. And so everybody started drinking Pinot Noir immediately. It was crazy how fast this went. But anyway, so Merlot, though, to get into that, is typically a dry wine with medium acidity and medium tannins. The taste profile can range from fresh red fruit flavors like strawberry and red plum, with possible herbaceous notes like green bell pepper if the grapes are picked when they're just ripe. But you can get a more full-bodied wine with a black fruit flavor like blackberry and black plum if the grapes are allowed to ripen longer. Okay, so most Merlot is aged in oak barrels for a period of time, and there are some that are unoaked, and then there are also some producers, to save money, they just use oak chips, and they put a little oak chips in there to give it some flavoring. These are usually cheaper wines. Merlot is often blended with higher tannin varietals such as like Cabernet in order to add more red fruit flavors and lower the tannin levels in the wine. So like basically if it's a Cabernet on the label, they only have to have at least 75% of the Cabernet grape in that wine, and the other 25% can be other varietals to blend in with it and still be called a Cabernet, or same with the Merlot. Merlot originated in Bordeaux, France, where it is one of the 5 grape varietals allowed to be used in the wines of Bordeaux. Most Bordeaux wines are blends, and they can use any combination of the 5 grapes: Cabernet, Merlot, Cab Franc, Petit Verdot, and Malbec. Those are the 5 grapes. So the Bordeaux region is divided by 2 rivers, the Garonne and the Dordogne. And then within that you have the left bank and the right bank of Bordeaux. So on the right bank, Merlot is the more dominant variety, and on the left bank, Cabernet is the more dominant variety. So for more Merlot dominant Bordeaux wines, if you're looking for those, look to the regions of Pomerol and Saint-Emilion. Okay. Also, most labels that are just a Bordeaux AOC or a Bordeaux Superior AOC are typically more Merlot dominated. Anyway, in the United States, California is the main producer of Merlot, so many of these Merlots are just a California appellation, and this means that they can just pull grapes from different areas of California and not just specifically one region. These are usually a little less expensive wines that are fruity and maybe a more like medium body wine. Now, however, some very good quality wines also have just a California appellation, because this allows the winemaker a little bit more freedom to pull from grape vineyards from just different areas of California. So don't always take that with that it's going to be cheap. If it just says California wine, it's not going to be good. It could be very good. So anyway, the more expensive and better quality Merlot will come from the areas of like Napa Valley or Sonoma in that region, and these will often be oaked aged in new oak barrels and for quite a bit of time, and they'll come across as having a little bit more of that black plum and black cherry fruit flavor. All right, so Cabernet is our next wine, and Cabernet is like the king of all red wine grapes. All right, these are some of your best quality wines, at least in my opinion and most people's opinion. Some of the best wines in the world are predominantly Cabernet. So Cabernet wines are known for their high tannins, high acidity, and many times their black fruit and herbaceous aromas. They're medium to full-bodied wines with flavors of like black currant, black cherry, mint, and sometimes green bell pepper, kind of depending on ripening of the grapes. Cabernet will usually be aged in oak barrels for several months or years before being bottled. During the oak aging process, small amounts of oxygen sneak into the wine and help soften the tannins. This wine will also pick up additional flavors from the oak barrels like vanilla and clove and smoke and cedar, and this happens as well with other wines that are aged in oak barrels for an extended period of time. France is also the birthplace of Cabernet. Cabernet is another, like we talked about earlier, is another one of the grape varietals that are allowed in the production of Bordeaux wines. And we discussed this, that the left bank is dominated by Cabernet, and the wine coming from the left bank regions will be Cabernet-based wines. Again, with other blends, of other grapes blended into it. And some of those regions, though, for those Cabernet-based wines are Pauillac, Margaux, and Gras. In the U.S., California is the main region for Cabernet wines. Napa Valley and Sonoma are the best areas to look for Cabernet in California. Many will also just have, like we discussed, a California appellation. Now, when we're talking about specific regions, specific appellations, I just want to bring this up. So in California, so in order to say it is, like this one is a Sonoma County, in order to say Sonoma on the label, at least 85% of the grapes must come from that region. Okay, then they can pull the other 15% from other regions. But other regions For Cabernet in the United States, Washington State is a great area also for producing great Cabernet. So I can't give all the glory to California. It's a great region for that, and Merlot as well. So try some of those wines if you get a chance, okay? Also, Chile and Argentina and Australia, those are some other good areas producing good quality Cabernet. All right, our last dry red wine everyone needs to know is Malbec. Now I'm sure some people are going to comment that I should have made number 4, maybe Syrah or Shiraz, but I'm seeing more Malbec in the market than I am Syrah, so that's why number 4 is Malbec. Anyway, Malbec's roots began in the Cahors region of southwest France. In this region, the grape is actually called Cot. The grape became less popular in Bordeaux after 1956 when frost killed off 75% of the crop. And Malbec is another one of the grapes that are allowed in the production of Bordeaux red wines. All right, so Malbec produces wines with deep, inky color. It's a full body wine, flavors of like black fruits and blackberry and black plum. These wines will usually be aged in oak for a short time or maybe a little while. And then they will pick up additional flavors like clove and chocolate and vanilla. Malbec is Argentina's most important grape varietal. I mean, most Malbecs that are found out in the market today are coming from Argentina, and specifically from the area of Mendoza. Mendoza is a very dry region with an average yearly rainfall of only about 8 to 12 inches, making it one of the sunniest and driest wine growing regions globally. So most of the precipitation occurs in the summer, which is January and February for them. So irrigation from snowmelt coming from the Andes Mountains is essential for getting water to the vineyards. I was able to go to Argentina, it's probably been 12, 15 years ago. I don't know for sure. But anyway, I got to go and spend a week in Mendoza, actually with the family here that I have this wine, the Zuccardi family. And if you ever get to try their wines, please drink their wines. This is a great family. They have Zuccardi and they also have Santa Julia wines. So check those out. You can be in the city of Mendoza and actually look down and there's like on the sidewalk and there'll be a ditch or something there that just water's running through. Well, anyway, they basically run water throughout the area, and I was in one of the vineyards and I noticed that, they were telling about it and how they will channel water into it, and they actually still do it they'll just dam up a section with just wood to make the water run into that section of the vineyard, and then once that's kind of had plenty of water, they'll move down and they'll dam up another area and run water down through that area, and then they'll dam up another area and run water through that area. It's amazing how they get water into these vineyards. Okay, so some of the best wines coming from Argentina are coming from the higher altitude vineyard locations such as Uco Valley. These locations are often in cooler climates and they produce wines with a more tannin and more acidity. Also, Malbec pairs great with meats, and I had the luxury while I was in Argentina to partake in an Argentinian asado. And this is a meal that lasts for several hours where several courses of various wood-fired grilled meats are served periodically throughout the time, and a lot of Malbec is drank, and it was amazing. I was so full when I got done. It was just some of the best food. All right, so that is a basic overview of the 4 red wines that you need to know. Hey, the best way to really get to know these wines is by tasting them. And if you can try them side by side or at a wine tasting event where you can kind of go back and forth between the 4 different types in order to taste the subtle differences and smell the aromas, see the color differences, This is when you're going to really be able to enhance your knowledge. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, if it was helpful for you and you liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. If you have further questions or have a topic that you would like to learn more about, please leave me a comment below. I just want to keep teaching you about all things alcohol. And thank you for watching, and until next time, cheers.